So our first topic of the show, guys, is going to be talking about Keanu Reeves and his character in Cyberpunk 2077. I told you guys that I was going to be talking more and more and making more content based around Cyberpunk 2077 the closer that we're getting to the release of the game. And so I wanted to talk about Keanu Reeves and his character, which some of you might have done your own research on him as a character, but if you haven't, you're going to find out a lot of stuff in this particular segment of the show about his character in the game. And I definitely want to get into this thing, guys, right now, because here's the thing. Keanu Reeves, to me, as an actor, is a phenomenal actor. He does a great job, and I love him in John Wick. I love him in The Matrix. Some of his other movies aren't that great, but if you really think about his top two movies, obviously I would think you would say probably John Wick as well as The Matrix. And so him being in a video game, it just kind of is very fitting for him as an actor and his legacy and such. This could be something that's really, really special. I made a video, guys, a while back about Cyberpunk 2077, and I've kind of proposed the question, even though it's super far-fetched, as to what if Cyberpunk 2077 was in the same universe as John Wick for one reason or another, and just kind of proposed the idea, even though it's, I know, very far-fetched, but it was something to kind of create conversation. Well, in an article, guys, that was written by Polygon, Charlie Hall says, "Meet Johnny Silverhand, rock star turned vigilante." CD Projekt Red dropped a bomb on fans today, introducing actor Keanu Reeves as a non-playable character in Cyberpunk 2077. A press release issued today confirms Reeves isn't just playing some mook. He's Johnny Silverhand, an iconic character from the original Cyberpunk 2020 tabletop role-playing game by Mike Pondsmith. In the trailer shown today during the Xbox E3 press conference, a deal involving the player character goes bad. After getting brutalized inside an apartment they're dumped in a junkyard outside the city limits, that's when Silverhand shows up, reboots the player, and invites them to burn the city down at his side. And so, obviously, guys, the trailer came out a while ago, right? But what I'll say about it is that it's very, it really is interesting. Just how they introduced, Keanu Reeves' his character, Johnny Silverhand. And I think that what they're kind of showing us is that he might not necessarily be a main role in this game, but he's going to be a character in the game, and it might be, it might be more significant than you might actually think. The scenario is eerily similar to the opening moments of Never Fade Away, the short introductory module that shipped with the original Cyberpunk 2020 tabletop game in 1988, which also stars Silverhand. Silverhand is a rocker boy, a very specific character class in the world of Cyberpunk 2020. Imagine Dungeons & Dragons Bard class mixed with a counterculture iconoclast, someone with both a message and a trusted connection to the massive audience that needs to hear it. Here's part of the class description from the original text. Rocker boys are the street poets, social consciences, and rebels of the 2000s. With the advent of digital porta studios and garage laser disc mastering, every rocker with a message can take it to the street, put it in the record stores, bounce it off the comsats. Sometimes this message isn't something the corporations or the government wants to hear. Sometimes what you say is going to get right in the faces of the powerful people who really run this world. But you don't care because as a rocker boy, you know it's your place to challenge authority, whether in straight out protest songs that tell it like it is, or just by playing kick-ass rock and roll to get the people away from the TV sets and into the streets. You have a proud history as a rocker boy. Dylan Springsteen, Who, Elvis, the Stones, the legions of hard rock heroes who told the truth with screaming guitars and gut-honest lyrics. So, I think what you can really take from this is that most likely, guys, Johnny Silverhand is going to be a badass character. It seems like he's going to be one of those really cool characters, kind of like a, rocker boy, and type of mentality and feel to him. But I do think that he's going to be one of those guys who's not afraid to get his hands dirty within the game, and I think is going to give us some significant, advice throughout the course of the game. Should be interesting. Another excerpt from the book, Johnny comes to, there's something like broken glass in his guts. Red fire blots out the cool blue neon. He rolls over in a pool of something greasy, blood, his. Behind his eyelids, red digitals feebly clock out his remaining moments, bio clock running down, cars whistling past on the filthy, rain-wet street beyond, a trauma team ambulance in the distance, siren screaming, but not for him. He's checking out. So the look at Cyberpunk 2020 and Cyberpunk 2077 couldn't be more different. One is stuck in the 1980s while the other seems pitch perfect to our modern vision of what a dystopian future could be. CD Projekt is clearly digging deep into the original game's lore, and by the end of this year, we'll likely know much more about how the game plans to implement it. For its part, the team at Cyberpunk 2020 publisher R. Talsorian Games is thrilled to see Reeves playing one of its most iconic characters. There aren't words to describe seeing someone of Mr. Reeves' talent and legacy picking up a character Mike first introduced over 30 years ago and bringing him to life, a representative told Polygon via email. As a musician and someone who believes in making an impact in the world, someone who has known fame and the way it can lift and cut, it's clear Mr. Reeves can understand Johnny in a way few people can. We're beyond excited. So, overall, guys, I think that this character is going to have a grittiness to him. Going to have a very, like what he is in The Matrix and what he is in John Wick, that being just a badass character who maybe doesn't speak a whole lot, maybe doesn't have a ton of lines in the game, but when he speaks, you're going to listen. Or the other characters within the game and in the world are going to listen. I think that this is going to be a special character, guys. I really do. He's going to be a really cool character. And one thing I'm really hoping for, guys, is when the multiplayer comes out, because multiplayer has been confirmed for Cyberpunk 2077, one thing I'm really hoping for is that we are able to play Johnny Silverhand in the game as a playable character in multiplayer. Maybe obviously not necessarily in the campaign or the story mode, which I think is good. I've always said this, guys. Most video games, depending on like where the story is and such, it's a good idea to just play as one character, and throughout the course of the game, you kind of, really connect with that character. And then maybe in like, if they have other sequels to the Cyberpunk 2077, maybe then you can start introducing other characters that you can play as. But I think that's what really multiplayer's for. You don't want to be taken out of one character and put into another throughout the course of a single player game, especially a game like Cyberpunk that's brand new to all of us and something that we're all very excited to play. But having Keanu Reeves or Johnny Silverhand as a playable character in multiplayer, I think that would be awesome. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comment section below. Let's have a real conversation about it.